they would put lights in different balconies, see if there are people, and if there were, they would even shoot tear gas to balconies, not just like on the street. Like every 1-2 meters that you walk, you would see blood, like either on the floor or on the walls.
Yeah. What was your emotional state looking all this?
Maybe I was just, okay, I'm here, I can't really be emotional about it. It's just once I left that I thought about it, and that's when I realized, okay, how sad it was, how bad it was, the things that I saw.
The following is a conversation with Parisa, an Iranian Canadian student now living in France. Last December, she decided to go back to Iran after a few years to spend her holidays and visit her family. What she couldn't know was that in just a few weeks, she'd find herself stuck in the country and experiencing first person the terrible massacre happened on January 8th. Now, what Parisa is doing is very courageous. She's speaking up against the horrors of a country where freedom of speech is often denied. And since, as you'll hear, the information is now reaching us, her testimony is very important. I hope you enjoy the video. Parisa, thank you for being here. Considering the possible consequences to you and to your family, why did you decide to still speak up?
I think there's a need for every Iranian, especially for the ones that were there like me and are out of Iran now, that have more possibility to
Mm.
get the information out there, to do that. Because not everybody, even though like a lot of people are posting about it, even though it has become a big subject in the world right now, not everybody knows about what's going on. And me speaking up, even if it means I get one more person informed, I still think that it was a good idea.
Mhm. So, over 40,000 Iranians are officially reported to be killed by security forces during the January 8 to 9 crackdown on national protests, making it the deadliest two-day protest massacre in history. Do you think this number is accurate?
I would imagine it's much more than that.
Hmm. Let's go chronologically. When did you exactly arrive in Iran?
I think it was around December 23rd, 24th, something like that.
Could you already sense in the air that something was happening?
Not in the very beginning, maybe like after a week.
Yeah, indeed. Uh, just to give some context, December 28, shopkeepers and bazaar merchants in Tehran began striking due to a spike in inflation that pushed food prices up and also the collapse of the Iranian currency. Off camera, you were actually telling me a story when you went to a restaurant. Can you please tell me more?
Yeah, there was this one time that I went to a restaurant with some of my family, like around 10, 12 people, and I went to pay for everybody. When I changed the currency from real to like euros, I realized it cost me around like 10, 12 euros in total, not even per person. So imagine having dinner at a pretty good restaurant for like 1 euros per person. That just shows how strong euro is compared to real, for example.
And also, fast forward a week later, beginning of January, Reza Pahlavi, trouble me if I'm pronouncing wrongly,
I think you're good.
the son of Iran's former monarch, released a video message urging every Iranian to take to the streets on January 8th, starting from 8 p.m. Around the same time, authorities shut down the internet and blocked international calls, making communication and outside observation nearly impossible. In the next hours, hell broke loose. What was the main objective of the protests, and how much were they economical, so due to inflation, and how much were they political?
Um, well, in terms of politics, I don't think I'm informed enough to be able to speak much about it. But in terms of economics, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, um, the main issue is that people cannot afford food, which is the basics of everybody's life, food, clothes, and everything. Because um, Iran's currency right now, it's almost worth nothing. And when I first arrived, ever since the moment I arrived until I left, it was like I was there for like 20 days. There was still a very big change in Iran's currency. It was still going down and down. And I feel like most of the people who went to the streets, they just went because they simply cannot afford food anymore.
Yeah, indeed. I was looking at your story, and we could clearly see that it was mostly targeted those state-owned buildings and public banks. Maybe you were telling me as well off camera that in previous protests, because the whole city was destroyed, so private shops and so on.
I mean, to be honest, with the previous protests, I was never there. So it's whatever I same thing as you've seen on social media. That's
Hmm.
how much knowledge I had from the previous one. This one, I can speak a little bit more about it because I saw it with my own eyes, you know?
Of course. Was he expected such a violent response to the protest?
I don't think the very first night, which was a Thursday, January 8th, I
Eight,
think,
yeah.
yeah. I don't think they expected that many people to go out.
Hmm.
So I feel like the government wasn't ready for that many people. That's why that got so violent. Because the next night they were actually ready. They had a lot more soldiers and everyone outside in case
Yeah,
there are protesters.
which is actually the thing that is standing out to me because after such a violent response, people kept on going the following night. Why do you think so?
When you have literally nothing else to lose in your life, you're like, what's the worst case scenario, you know?
Yeah,
Like, if I'm pretty sure if I was somebody who lived there, I would have 100% gone every single night to every protest because, well, if I can afford my clothing, if I can afford food, if I am like a 20 something years old with no future in a country where I can't even leave because I cannot afford to leave, then what else is there for me to lose, you
we were
know?
just thinking there's nothing much to lose, and yeah, wow.
But then again, this is my perspective. This is what I saw or I felt. I might be wrong. Like other people might have other internal reasons why they kept going.
And of course, here we're just students, so we're not gonna get into any political stuff. But back to the narrative, where were you the night of January 8th?
I was in my uncle's house actually. We he I wanted to go to the protest, but he didn't let me because he said
Thanks
unsafe.
God.
No, but I mean, he said, uh, yeah. Well, he just didn't let me go. But we were watching it from his balcony.
Hmm.
I had a pretty good view, I could say, because it was kind of in the middle of one of the biggest areas where there were protests. That's where, like, I was able to get some of the videos, and that's how, like, I have an idea of actually what happened on the streets, even though I wasn't physically down there. So,
Yeah. And you mentioned that the security forces used several methods to repress protests. One of them was flooding neighborhoods with tear gas. What exactly did you witness?
well, now I know exactly how tear gas feels. A
Hmm.
few times actually happened to me, even though, like, I was in a balcony, like, they would put lights in different balconies, see if there are people, and if there were, they would even shoot tear gas to balconies, not just, like, on the streets.
Wow. And also, what stuck with me was the fact that you mentioned that the only nice thing you saw was when an undercover agent was discovered by some protesters and they beat him. Looking back after a few weeks, what's your take on the emotional state on the protesters?
I mean, look, they were angry. I understand. I mean, I hope the guy that they beat, I genuinely don't know if he left there alive or not. I hope he is, because at the end of the day, no matter what, he's somebody's son. Um, but what people did to him, 100% understandable. And if I was at their place, I might have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Because how can you just go to the street and start killing people who could have been your friends or who could have been your brother? Because
Mm.
it's an internal thing, you know? If this person is not your friend, it's probably a friend of your friend.
Yeah. Why do you think they were doing that? Because I understand, of course, they were responding to the orders, but that's a bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, you're an adult human being responding to orders, okay, but at the same time, you have a brain. You could,
Exactly.
use
Think on your
that,
own.
and you don't have to respond to all of the orders you get. You kind of have to think about it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, from what I heard, they got extra. Everybody, like, all the government agents who went out that night, I think they got extra money. And that's what I heard. I didn't see it anywhere official, but I think they all got some extra money.
Yeah, also I can't even think about the consequences of actually not responding to the orders.
Yeah,
That put your life, but the life of your family at risk as well. Um, so the following morning, so January 9, you went out in the new war area.
normal.
Normal, my bad. What did you see?
Um, so I think during the night they were trying to, after the protest was gone, they were trying to wash it off because I kind of heard them like heard some water, like trying to clean like all the glass. But even though they did that, when we went out, there was still a lot of blood on the floors everywhere. Maybe like every 1, 2 meters that you walk, you would see blood like either on the floor or on the
Yeah,
walls. A bunch of burnt building. Some of the bus stations, they were burnt. Their glasses were shattered.
yeah,
It was like the
uh,
purge had happened the night before.
yeah. The Armageddon. Yeah, crazy. What was your emotional state looking all this? Which is crazy to even think about.
If I'm being totally honest, when I was there, I didn't really deal with how I felt about it because maybe it was the fight or flight response. Maybe I was just, okay, I'm here. I can't really be emotional about it. It's just once I left that I thought about it. And that's when I realized, okay, how sad it was, how bad it was, the things that I saw, you know?
Yeah, in the Western world is unthinkable to even imagine. You are mentioning the surviving instinct that that in that moment took over. Um, Looking ahead, how do you hope the situation can be resolved?
Like I mentioned, honestly, in terms of politics, I don't have much of an opinion. I just really, really hope that all these people who died, it's not for nothing. And
Mm,
it goes somewhere that would benefit every single Iranian who's fighting for their freedom, who's fighting for a chance to have just a normal life, you know,
yeah,
where they can afford regular food, regular clothes. Because most of them, they're not even looking for like a luxury kind of lifestyle, just basic, basic needs.
hmm. I mean, I said it off camera, but I'm gonna say it now as well. What you're doing gives you a lot of honor because you're giving a
Thank
voice
you.
to those people who are being silenced, and the real information is not reaching us. So you're the only one who can provide it. And I think that this whole thing remind us that the thing we call freedom here in the Western world is something that we often take it for granted, but it's not as obvious and guaranteed everywhere. So thank you very much for your witness.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.